Okay, this is just a quick demo of how to make an axe. And as you see, I've taped up this bamboo. I use bamboo for axes, and I'm just going to show how to take a piece that I've cut out. This is an axe blade that I've cut out, and how to put it onto a piece of bamboo and then pat it up for use. It's a really easy process, and so that's why I want to show it. You use Gorilla Tape. Before I do that, I cover the ends. It's just a safety thing. Always, whenever you're making anything, you really want to make sure that you think about safety before you make the weapon, and that way you don't end up later bringing it to an event and then having it be disqualified by me because I can feel the ends. I always check these ends. So if you pad them up, like I'm doing right now, then you will not have them disqualified for safety later on. So I covered that. I put a little
not to mention that not only will it be not safe for use at FanWar, it won't be safe for use anywhere. Oh,
that's definitely true. Yeah. But yes, it really wouldn't be safe, although somebody else might not come and tell you that you can't use it.
Still not safe.
It's still not safe. You may just not know. So I've just covered up that tip there, and what that's for is just in case I were to hit somebody too hard on the front. At the end of this, they don't get a pole really hurting them. So I've covered up that end there. I do the same on the back. I'm not going to do it right now. And I'm going to line this up on the edge, just make sure it's pressed up really well. And this is where Gorilla Tape comes in. These axes would really not work if it wasn't for Gorilla Tape, and I really like them. I'm actually going to invert that, I think. Yeah, that's good. And I take some Gorilla Tape like this, a nice, pretty long piece. I'm going to make sure this is pressed tightly against the bamboo. I'm going to set this Gorilla Tape down and press it in there. You have to be really careful with Gorilla Tape because unlike the duct tape, it is really hard to get off of other surfaces. It is really good tape. So you fold it over, you make sure it's pressed in tightly again, and you fold it back and you just press that down. And now it's secured really well to that. And I'm going to keep doing that process all the way down the blade. Nice, pretty long pieces, overlapping at about 1/4 inch. There, flip it back, press that in. As you can see, this doesn't take very long at all. I can make an axe in about 20 minutes, especially if I pre-cut a lot of the pieces out beforehand. I tend to do things in bulk, so I cut out a whole bunch of axe heads and a whole bunch of handles, a whole bunch of halves, and then I go from there. So I keep going all the way down until I've gotten to the base here. Back it over. I'm going to cut these so you can see where the curves in a bit, so I'm just going to cut into there. Whenever you're cutting duct tape or Gorilla Tape, you want to use some of your oldest razor blades because it ruins them really fast. So I always save a couple of older ones that I use for cutting the duct tape, and I save my really nice fresh ones for just cutting foam. Saves you a lot. So there, that's pretty well secured on, and that actually is going to keep this from flopping a lot. The next step is to take a little bit of Gorilla Tape and secure this bottom curve. The reason you secure the bottom curve with this Gorilla Tape is it makes it rigid enough to hook weapons. That's what makes the axe worth using in a LARP. Normally, in a real life situation, an axe is just a great weapon because it's heavy and brutal and it's scary. But in a LARP situation, when there's no real danger, the axe is not exactly a really scary weapon, so it needs to be effective. So if you tape these edges down, you'll end up with a nice hook that you can hook weapons with, and that'll make the weapon useful. Otherwise, there's really no reason to use an axe in most LARPs that I run into, other than they tend to deal a lot of damage if you're using it in a damage system. So there, I've Gorilla Taped the back of that, and what that means now is that if someone came along with a sword and slid up in here, I could actually kind of entangle their sword a bit, and then that's important for an axe. Okay, so next, I come up to the edge, and I'm just going to take off. Oh, this is my kind of not a sharp one, a sharper one. There we go. So I'm just going to come up here and take off the edge, just like I did with the swords. Although it's a healthier, bigger piece that I'm taking off than when I took off the sword blade. I'm taking off quite a bit more than I did before. Invert it, do the same thing along here. You don't really need to get the bottom. There, you can leave that pretty much open. Cut all the way around there. And almost there. All the way up to the tip. So
hold up the piece from just that.
So that's now cut. You can see it's got an edge. The reason for doing that is to soften it, so that this edge doesn't hurt so hard. Once it's taped up, you don't want it to really hurt when you hit somebody. You want it to be nice and soft. If you're worried about your axe getting a little bit soft or wiggly later, take a little extra Gorilla Tape and take it right down the middle like this, and just extend out how far the Gorilla Tape is going, and that'll keep the axe blade more rigid as you use it over time. Of course, the nice thing about these new types of open cell, closed cell weapons is that they are you can always add tape later, and they work really well. So the last thing you need to see is how to pad the handle, and I cut one of these. This is pipe insulation. You can get it at Home Depot sort of thing. Just open it up like that. You take this right over the top and just press it in. This is of course a one-sided axe, but you could make a double-sided the same way if you wanted to. Cover that all up like that. And there's a process I use for securing this this foam to the bamboo, and so there's no glue involved. So you take this piece and you just set it along the edge here, and you put it in, and you secure just get it to touch that bamboo like that, and then you want to wrap it really tight, and I mean really tight. Just pull it really hard and twist it like that. Okay, and that keeps it from twisting too much. If you don't tape this down, your whole half's going to twist on you. It's useless. So then take a nice healthy piece and just set it right long ways in here like that. Open it up and press it into the bamboo like that, and let it rest right in there. And that also keeps that from twisting. Just now repeat this process all the way down the bamboo, just sticking a piece in about every 6 inches, or the length of your hand. It's a good way to think of it. And then I just wrap it really tight, like that. And every 6 inches I'm going to do that. I'm going to do a long and a curve and a long and a curve, etc. When I get to the bottom, of course I'd have one of these on here. Foam would go a little bit further and cover all that. This piece is a little bit short. And then I take 2 pieces of this square foam and I'd make a knockout the same way we did before, like that. And you can add a stabbing point if you want, but pretty much that's all you need to know for an axe. You cover this with some duct tape and you're done. So that's the beginning of an axe.